What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and right now it is peak rookie hype season. Your rookie picks on your dynasty teams from now until you are on the clock in your rookie draft are reaching a boiling point of value. As you can see on this chart, the cycle of pick and player value by @EKBaller on Twitter. The picks are represented by 1 through 5, 1 being the cheapest, 5 being the most expensive. And you can see in October, November, as we are trying to win our dynasty championships, they are at their cheapest. But right now, as we get towards the NFL draft, everybody gets excited for these players, right? Landing spots. You start falling in love with some players. Who can I use my first round rookie picks on? You're excited about who you can use your second round rookie picks on. And everybody's looking through the lenses, rose-colored glasses, when it comes to this class, and not really acknowledging, right? Every class is going to have its huge busts, right? Whether that is Trey Lance, Kyle Pitts, Treylon Burks, Quentin Johnston. Not all these picks are going to hit, and you can kind of take advantage of that right now. As you can see, I have it circled in blue. Where we're at right now, we're at like a orange 4, and between now and your rookie draft, these rookie picks are going to be at a premium. So I would consider selling some of them. Now, this video is not go sell all of your rookie picks right now. If you have the 101, go sell. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to put together a shopping list. That is the point of this video. We are going to build, me and you, as if we are going to ShopRite or whatever, a shopping list. Now, the players are going to get right now are not your young studs, right? Of course, Caleb Williams, JSN, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ladd McConkey's a 2-3 turn pick in startups. These guys are expensive, but right now you can buy on the cheap guys like Christian McCaffrey, who are players that you're not really thinking of in April because these are players that are much more centered in their 2025 values. And right now, April 9th, between now and your rookie drafts, as everyone is looking at rookie picks and not their lineup and kind of what their win equity looks like in 2025, we can silently and cheaply build a contender at prices that you will not be able to get once we start turning the page to redraft and looking at the 2025 season. So today, we're going to talk through some contending assets to buy with your rookie picks and build out a shopping list so that maybe you're on the clock of your rookie draft and you're at the 111 and you're like, I don't like any of these players. Well, then you can take that pick and go shop it around with your league mates and buy some of these players. Now, with that being said, if you enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we have something special for this video because I could just list 5 veteran players. Here's why you should buy them. But in the spirit of March Madness, we are going to leverage keep trade cut values using Underdog ADP. Make sure you check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code RON when you sign up, and they will match your first deposit up to $1,000. Links to that will be in the description and the comment section down below. They're going to have plenty of promos for the Masters, for NBA playoffs coming up, all of that good stuff. Check it out. We'll have some of these big board drafts on stream as well. And the beauty of the big board is that it is the best indicator we have for how the people and public sentiment is for these players in the landscape of only 2025. We have 182,000 teams, more than that at this point, drafted, all $10 a piece. The ADP is updating every single day. So this is the best snapshot of how people feel about these players going into 2025. And then what we can do is we can take Underdog ADP and leverage it against keep trade cut values where we can see, okay, these are the best bang for your buck players where you're getting the most production for the cheapest keep trade cut value, which right now, this is where we want to be buying these veterans. And what we do is we get nerdy, all right? We take the Underdog ADP, the keep trade cut value, we get a line of best fit, and then we kind of measure which players are off of that line by the most in terms of their value and guys that are probably too cheap for how much production they're going to be giving you in 2025. And what that gives you is this sheet right here where we have everything you need. These are the running backs right here, right? Where you can see their name, of course, their Underdog ADP, their expected Underdog ADP based on their keep trade cut value, the difference, the ratio, where we have both of these, right? So Saquon Barkley is actually a great contending asset where he is, based on his keep trade cut value, his expected ADP should be 15.2. Instead, it's 2.4. So that is 12.8 picks of contending difference or contending value. But he looks like a worse contending asset than guys like Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. So what we do is we take a ratio. It's just so it kind of evens things out, and we get a contending value plus. So we're going to hide these and just sort by underdog ADP. So you can see, okay, these are the best running backs according to underdog in terms of their 2025 value. And then you can see what their keep trade cut would suggest they should be at, and then their contending value plus. Now, I do want to zoom out before we talk about a single player. I'm trying not to drag on too long here. This sheet will be available down below. You can get access to it. I will not be updating it, so this is only going to have a very short life of like a shelf life of about a week to 2 weeks or whatever, but all of this will be in the description and the comment section down below. All I ask, this is on me on me for the love of the game. Just leave a like. It's been a while since I've made videos consistently. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, comment, consider checking out the Patreon, consider checking out Underdog. Now, with the rest of this video, who are we going to buy first? Now, what we're not going to do is just sort by contending value plus, because there's some players that even if they have good contending value, right, where Derrick Henry's keep trade cut value suggests he should be going in the 50s on underdog, but instead he's going in the second round. He's actually a huge value here, but I'm not a huge fan of Derrick Henry. He's also very old. This isn't just going to be who has the highest contending value plus. It's going to be guys that I actually like as buys. And the first player we're going to talk about here, and we'll highlight them as we talk about them, is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey. People are pretty out on McCaffrey. They are not very excited about him. And when we talk about Christian McCaffrey, when we talk about buying him right now, there's not a lot that needs to be said. All right, since 2000, only LaDainian Tomlinson has more 20-plus point per game seasons than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey has 4. LaDainian Tomlinson has 6. He is in that rare air of like legendary running back in the fantasy football space. And when we have a doctor here at Jeff Mueller over on Twitter breaking down kind of McCaffrey's injuries, right? He had the Achilles tendonitis last year. He's had calf strains in the past. And his injury notes, right, as a physical therapist, I believe, yes, calf strains, less than 3% re-injury risk. Hamstring, less than 15% re-injury risk. Quad, less than 10% re-injury risk. PCL non-surgical, less than 5% re-injury risk. Achilles tendonitis, 0% recurrence risk. So he's had a lot of fluke injuries, a lot of, dings, a lot of scrapes, a lot of scratches, but we're not talking about a guy who tore his Achilles or tore his ACL. He's just had a year last year that was a lost year, and that's what he had. He had last year, right? Then before that, back-to-back years of 20-plus point per game production, and then the 2 years before that, he had some scrapes and some injuries. This has kind of been the life flow of Christian McCaffrey, and right now, he's about as cheap as he'll ever be, or not as cheap as he'll ever be, but as cheap as he'll be reasonably, right? Because we can go into the season, he's a monster, and then all of a sudden, this KTC value will jump a little bit, but next offseason, he will lose value. So all of these buys are through the lens of contending, and I think that it's a reasonable enough price that I'm fine paying up, getting his production, and then losing that dynasty value in the long run, because at the end of the day, I want to win. I want to win championships, and with McCaffrey, I like betting on him because he is somebody that's been on record where his dad would have him take IVs in high school as like a recovery method. His dad was a freak, Ed McCaffrey, I believe, with the Denver Broncos. He is a freak about his recovery, his routine, all of that. So I'm fine betting on him to sort of bounce back in the injury department here. And then he also has a game where in PPR, it's so reception heavy, right? Where he has a season with over 100 plus receptions that even if he's not this like bell cow, 300 plus touches, whatever, he can still smash in fantasy. This is Mike Clay's projection. Shout out to Mike Clay. You're going to be seeing a lot of these in the coming months. I know some of you guys don't like when I bring up Mike Clay's projections, but he works for ESPN. He does their projections every year. He goes every single team, top down, projects out the attempts, the yards per targets, everything across the board, looking at coaching tendencies, free agent acquisitions, all of that. And he has Christian McCaffrey as the RB4, just shy of 20 points per game. And he gets to the RB4 despite Isaac Guerendo getting over 150 touches in this projection. So I know a lot of people are scared of, well, maybe Guerendo takes things over or eats into this backfield. And even if he does, to me, it's kind of like a Bijan, Tyler Algier scenario where, yes, he'll be there. But as long as McCaffrey gets the high-value touches, right, whether that's touchdowns, goal line opportunities, reception, stuff out of the backfield, then McCaffrey's in a spot where you can buy him for pretty cheap and get monster 20-plus point per game value from him. Now, the question becomes, how much would I pay for him? Now, of course, as always, Jordan Mason was there. He got traded to the Vikings. He's no longer there. So it's really just Garendo. Maybe the Niners take like a late third-round running back or a day 3 running back. But I think that that'll be more of just a depth piece given how injury-riddled the position has been for them in the past. Now, how we're going to define our pick values here, we're going to go to Dynasty Daddy, where they have a fantasy football trade database, as you can see here, and we have it set to Dynasty, 2 quarterbacks, half PPR or full PPR, any tight end premium of your choosing, 9 to 13 starters, 12 teams, only 2 max assets, because I really just want it to be, okay, what is the rookie pick value for this player? Let's search here. We'll go McCaffrey, and then I do also want to get a keep trade cut in here so that so we can kind of just bring up like, okay, this is a fair value for this player. What the rule is going to be is we will scroll the first screen. Let's go McCaffrey, and we'll scroll on the first screen, and pretty much like the 3 cheapest like rookie picks, whatever rookie pick I write, there needs to be 3 that are at that value or lower than that value. So what I mean by that is, okay, we see 111 here. We scroll, we see another 111. We scroll, we see some 110s. We see a throw that out. 108, 112. So we've now seen 3. We've seen 4 now at 111 or later. So that's what we'll stick with, 111 or later. So let's say McCaffrey at the 111 or later. And just to sort of double check that, we can go McCaffrey. I know people don't like keep trade cut. It's not perfect, but I need to have some sort of guardrails that tell me, okay, this is a fair deal. Seems fair enough in Superflex Dynasty. So let's build out our shopping list here. We'll say shopping list. We'll build it out here. Player, price. And this is just perfect. We'll all just have this because, like, again, the idea of this video is that you're on the clock and you're like, let's say you're at the 111, right? Or later, you're at the 111 and you're like, I don't really want to use this pick on anybody that's on the clock. Boom. Now you're set and ready to go. Well, what? We will bold this. Do a little formatting here. And then should we just make this bigger? There we go. Here's our shopping list, fellas. Boom. There we go. Shopping list number 1, Christian McCaffrey at the 111 or later. Now let's scroll some other running backs here as we have it sorted by underdog ADP. And you can see here, like, Josh Jacobs looks fine in terms of like a contending asset value. Mixon looks good. Kamara looks good. But the guy I have my eyes set on is another 2017 rookie class running back. Going to keep going to the well on that. We have James Conner for 3,200 on keep trade cut. His expected ADP on underdog at that price would be 102. But instead of being like what? The 102nd pick, he is a 6th round pick on underdog who is notoriously anti-running back there, and they still really like him. And all James Conner has ever done is produce. So we're going to have him as our 2nd running back target here. We're going to have, I think, 8 or so targets total in this video. And when it comes to James Conner, he has done nothing but produce, right? You look over, we're talking RB15, RB13, RB9, RB7 over his last 4 seasons, RB25, then RB16, then RB7. So he has done nothing but produce. He's been at like 10 plus games every single year. Yes, he's getting older, but that is now factored into his dynasty price as well, where he is cheaper than like Zach Charbonnet, who might not give you anything really when it comes to production this year, as like he could just be Kenneth Walker's handcuff. Is there upside? For sure. But as of right now, we have nothing. Similar idea with Trey Benson. So when it comes to James Conner, we also have offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, Drew Petzing. He's been there the last 2 years. They have been 4th and 7th in terms of rushing yards over that span. I'm just a fan of, if you want to get 15 plus points per game for your team, and we are talking like a later 2nd, I think would be my range for James Conner. And we start looking at Bajal Tootin, DJ Giddens, RJ Harvey. I like all of these guys, but there's a very good chance that they get drafted on day 3 and they kind of end up like a Jalen Wright last year, who I liked as well, and just they don't get on the field. They don't really do anything. Even a guy like Trey Benson, even a guy like Blake Corum, and nothing happens. Now, of course, is there upside that they can be Bucky Irving, or could they be one of those late round guys who hit? For sure. But I'm fine. At a certain point, you have to say, well, I'm fine taking the value here. And for James Conner, let's see, like what can we actually pay to buy James Conner? We have pick 209. What else do we have? We have pick 209. We have pick 208, 211. So like 208 or later, 206 here. 205, 205, 208 again. Okay, so we have a bunch of like 208 or laters. 209. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Let's make sure that it checks out here. Can I do James Conner for the 208 or later as his price? Yeah, Keep Trade Cut actually says that the pick, I think, is a little bit more valuable than James Conner. So we will say James Conner for the 208 or later. So again, you find yourself on the clock. Oh, damn it, dude. You find yourself on the clock at pick 208 or later. You go to the shopping list and you say, any of you fine gentlemen in the rookie draft lobby want to give me James Conner for this pick? And you kind of just see what happens. Now we have one more running back to add to this shopping list. It's not Najee Harris. And you do have to think as well, again, with these running backs, right? Right now is very dangerous to be buying these running backs. Something that I didn't really mention was that the Cardinals picks in terms of their draft capital, like, that's something to really keep an eye on with the NFL draft, but you're insulated because they already spent a day 2 pick on Trey Benson last year. They also extended James Conner semi-recently, so I think that you are pretty shielded off from the Cardinals drafting a meaningful running back, right? Whether that's like a Amarion Hampton, whether that is a Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, someone you'd be pretty concerned over. And then similar deal with the 49ers. So they have so much money tied up in McCaffrey. Garendo showed some flashes. I think if they draft anybody, it'll be like day 3, like a Jaden Blue, one of those kinds of guys. And I think McCaffrey can hold them off for a little bit. Now, somebody that I think is really protected from the NFL draft that is going to be our third and final running back to buy here is Aaron Jones. He's not sexy. I think people are pretty soured on him, which is why I'm interested here. He's going to pick 82 on Underdog. His keep trade cut value would have him in the 113 area. He gives you pretty good amount of value. I will say running backs worth giving a shout out to: Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, though I think Ramondre's in deep trouble of the Patriots drafting a meaningful running back upgrade on day 2. Similar deal with the Steelers as well. And then the Titans are just kind of like not that sexy, and Tyjae Spears is already there. So with Aaron Jones, I told you guys, we're going to go back to that 2017 class. Well, we have Aaron Jones. Came off a down year last year efficiency-wise, and that is rare with Aaron Jones, where usually he is balling out, being super efficient on a low amount of touches. There were the days back in 2019, 2020, where he's splitting work with Jamal Williams, and everybody is getting upset over that. Well, he sets a career high in touches. He gives you less than 15 plus points per game. He has like a fine year as an RB2 in fantasy football, but it was disappointing. He was inefficient. He wasn't great on the goal line. And then the Vikings went out and they traded for Jordan Mason. Now, the thing to remember with the Vikings is in terms of their top 100 picks, they have picked 24 and they have picked 97. I would be blown away if either of those picks were on a running back. This is a team that needs offensive line. They need really anything on defense. I know that Brian Flores is there, but they need secondary. They need defensive line. They need everything over there. So them using it on a running back after trading for Jordan Mason, after they re-signed Aaron Jones this offseason, I believe, it would just be shocking to me. So Jordan Mason's good. I think he can be fine. But even at Jordan Mason's ceiling, this could be like a Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones situation. And I actually like the idea of Aaron Jones getting less volume, right? Where he had 306 touches, a career high last year at age 30. That's not how you're going to make magic with Aaron Jones at this point in his career. What we're really hoping for is back in 2021, he had like 220-ish touches, 15 plus points per game. I trust Kevin O'Connell as well, where this is going to be an offense that has been top 12 in yards each of his 3 seasons, and they have been top 10 in points scored for 2 of those 3 seasons as well. The one where they didn't was when it was like Josh Dobbs and Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. So the offense will be good. I know people are skeptical of J.J. McCarthy, but as long as someone has a pulse under center and isn't Josh Dobbs or some random quarterback, they should be pretty good. And Aaron Jones in a more sexy touch role where he's getting kind of like almost like the Pollard Zeke split. That's actually pretty interesting to me now. I don't know what his ceiling can be, but like 15 plus points per game for like a late 2, early 3, I think I would be fine buying there. So when we look at the Dynasty Daddy trade database, let's see. He still has some name value, but people are very excited about Jordan Mason, and I do want to make it clear, I'm not like saying Jordan Mason can't cook or he can't be good. I'm just saying it's not somebody like they traded a day 3 pick for Jordan Mason. I'm not gonna be like, okay, well, Aaron Jones is cooked now. I think it's gonna be a split. I think Aaron Jones will get a lot of receptions. I think he'll be more efficient in this role. Let's see. What's Aaron Jones going for? 211. I don't hate that. 211. 209, 206, a little bit early. 211. Can we get one more 211 or later? 209, 206, 211 or later. All right, sold. And then what does Keep Trade Cut think? Give me 211 or later for Aaron Jones. Yeah, okay. That's about fair. So let's add Aaron Jones to the shopping list for the 211 or later. Again, if you just have a contending team that like needs a running back, I'd be absolutely fine doing that. Again, you might be sort of held up holding the bag on like everyone has hope for these guys, right? Whether that's Tootin, whether that's Giddens, whether that's Sampson. A lot of these guys aren't going to be that good, right? They're going to end up like Braylon Allen. They're going to end up like a lot of these guys. I mean, I was even excited about Will Shipley last year. And he goes day 3 to the Eagles. Like some of these guys are going to get sat behind good players. If you could just give me Aaron Jones for a late second, I'd be down with that. And we will scroll through the rest of this list, right? There's nothing really else that sticks out. Jerome Ford, not a bad buy here if you wanted. I guess Eckler a little bit, but that's about it. Now, let's move on to the wide receivers here. In terms of the buys, we have up top, I will say he didn't qualify for me in this video because I didn't really want to. I'm not sending the 101 for Nico Collins, and the 102 is not enough. But Nico Collins is a low-key buy candidate, right? Where all of these wide receivers in the top, the first round of underdog ADP, he's the only one with a keep trade cut value under 7,000. So Nico Collins to me is a really nice buy right now. But as we go lower, we have somebody that sticks out like a sore thumb. We have Tyreek Hill, and he'll be our first buy. I was back and forth on him because there's 100% a chance with Tyreek Hill that he's just cooked, that he lost his juice, he's not the same guy, and this is it, right? There's a chance that he's at 0, but I like the value you can trade to get Tyreek Hill. He has an unmatched ceiling. I think that there's some context for last year, right? Last year, Tua goes down, so he has games with Snoop Huntley, Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle as well. Brutal stuff. He also had a wrist injury. He had surgery on it. He's expected to be back by training camp, so he was hurt. His quarterback play was brutal. The whole Dolphin season was kind of a lost cause, but when you go a little bit deeper, I'm willing to bet on a rebound for the right price. We look at his ESPN open score. So it just tracks how often are you getting open. It also has catch ratings, yak ratings, overall ratings. But in terms of just getting open, finding separation, he had an 82, which is actually his third best over the last 5 years. It's better than he was at in 2020. Better than he was at in 2020 and 2021. So he was getting open. His catch rating being the lowest makes sense with that wrist injury. Yak wasn't fully there, which is going to happen when the defense shrinks up like it did. Like even Devon Achan's efficiency cratered as well. Same with Jalen Waddle. It wouldn't shock me to see this offense bounce back. Mike McDaniel has produced good offenses in the past. They seem like they're going to spend a lot of this draft getting new offensive linemen and building out this team to win in 2025. It's kind of a make or break year for a lot of these guys, for Tyreek, for McDaniel, for potentially Tua as the long-term quarterback on the Dolphins. So I don't mind betting on him, especially from a team where I would just benefit from having Tyreek Hill's ceiling over like an early second like Matthew Golden or something. I don't mind Matthew Golden, but he could also just be nothing, whereas Tyreek Hill could go out here and give you 20-plus points per game. Now, I say early second for this reason. I think that we're going to cut it really close when we look at these trades and the trade calculator and everything, but I ran a poll over on my Twitter, and the market prefers the 112 to Tyreek Hill. So that tells me if you bump this to 201, it would be about even. So let's actually double check that. We'll go to the trade database here. We'll type in Tyreek Hill. Who comes out on the other side? So 201, there we go. So 201 110, 109. See, that's too much for me. 112. For me, 111. Anything else? 111. Is there any other 201s? Like, I don't think we're going to see... Oh, 204, right? For me, the way that I'm treating Tyreek Hill, and you might say, well, Ron, I can't get this price, and that's fine. All right, we are selling our picks at their highest value. If you can't get Tyreek Hill for a second round pick, then don't go out and buy him. Like, this video is not, hey, your league mate's being stubborn, go send your 109. It is stay firm, hold tight, hold the line, and between now and your rookie draft, somebody will fold and sell you one of these vets. We do Tyreek for the 201. What do we got? And they actually prefer the pick. They're saying, keep trade cut, saying you can go even cheaper than that. What I'm saying, and what we're going to put on the shopping list, is Tyreek Hill in big letters. Tyreek Hill for the 201 or later. That's where I'm at on Tyreek Hill. I'd be fine with it. I think that he's a good piece for a contending team. He gives you massive, massive upside. There's a chance it goes to 0, but also if you're buying him for like the 201 or later, maybe you are a contender. Maybe you just have like a pick you're using. Maybe you're on the board in the second round at like the 203 and you don't like anybody, but there's a team that's like kind of having a fire sale and they can't get the right price on Tyreek. Maybe go knock on the door and see what you can do. Now, the next player we'll talk about as we scroll down this list, Terry McLaurin's not bad. DJ Moore's not bad. Mike Evans isn't bad. But somebody that actually is going right next to Mike Evans in underdog ADP, but is 700 keep trade cut points cheaper than him, Davante Adams. Now, of course, that's for a reason, right? He's changing teams. Mike Evans had an amazing year last year across the board, and like every metric you look at. Davante Adams more of a down-ish year. He's getting older. He's changing teams. So there's definitely risk here. There's risk with all of these players. But at the end of the day, you got to risk it to win. Whatever the hell that said, the risk it to win the biscuit or whatever. We're trying to win dynasty championships. And I think that there's certain players here where the value makes sense. And to me, Davante Adams makes sense. This is somebody coming off a wide receiver 9 point per game finish, despite playing on the Raiders and the Jets, which is pretty insane. He also had the only 2+ yards per out run season on the Jets last year. That was better than Garrett Wilson and whoever else you want to point to on that team. He was still actually pretty efficient there. And when we look at reception perception, shout out Matt Harmon, reception perception, he had more than 40% of the snaps in the slot. He had an 89th percentile versus press coverage. He had some decline, but that's going to happen with these players. He still looks plenty serviceable. The route tree success by route, he's only not green on curls and flats. He's still getting open. He's much better at getting open against man than a guy like Cooper Kupp is at this stage in their career. He fits very well on that team. And yes, there's going to be some people that are like, well, Puka Nakua's already there. Kupp couldn't produce next to him. And sure, but this is an NFL offense. Matthew Stafford is there. He is a more than capable quarterback. McVay is a great play caller as well. And we look at the Mike Clay projections here. Even with Puka Nakua being his wide receiver 3 in the projections, there is still enough room in this passing offense, right? Remember, their wide receiver 3 or 4 right now is Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Higbee. So there's plenty to go around for Davante Adams, who is his wide receiver 10 in the projections, despite getting less volume, less yards, etc., than Puka Nakua. So there's plenty of room in this offense. I think he still has some juice left to him, and the price to me is far too cheap for Davante Adams as somebody that is right in that same area on underdog as your Mike Evans type. So Davante Adams, what's he going for right now? I'm thinking like a mid to late second here. We have 211, 212. Man, I don't know that that's going to be realistic. 206. I mean, some of these you can throw out for sure, right? Like, I mean, I'm looking at like 206. I'm looking at 208. What can we do? 206, 208. We had some 211s at the top there. Let's compromise on 208, right? We have 211 here, 212 here, right? We have 3 that are 208 or cheaper. Maybe we'll compromise a little bit and say 207. Yeah, we'll say 207. 207 is what we'll put. I do think that keep trade cut is actually not going to really agree with that. All right, we put 207 in here. Yeah, they're saying, I think that they're going to say like it's probably going to be 205. Yeah, 205, but we're going to hit 207 or later just based off what the trade values are. And again, we have the leverage right now as the guy with the pick right now. So we'll add Davante Adams to the shopping list at the 207 or later. That's what I've decided. 207 or later. Again, find yourself on the clock. Nothing really sticks out. Like if I'm a contender picking between like Jaden Higgins and Davante Adams, give me Davante Adams all day long. Then our last wide receiver here we'll talk about is there's some other guys that stick out, right? Like Cortland Sutton looks pretty dang good. I just don't want to pay $3,400. Deebo Samuel looks pretty dang good. I just have some concerns about what he looks like in Washington or where he's at his stage of his career. He still has some pretty decent name value as well. Similar to with Juwan Jennings. I think he's pretty good, but he's also trading at like a late second value. That's a little bit rich for me. The next guy we'll talk about is Calvin Ridley. He is my third and final buy among the receivers here. And here's why. He is sneaky, not that old. Like he's not super young. But we look at Calvin Ridley's age. He's 30. He turned 30 in December. So this is going to be his age 30 season. And he actually had a pretty solid year last year. I've been very critical of Calvin Ridley, but last year, 1.86 yards per out run in an offense with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph and like brutal quarterback play. That was his second best mark in his career for an entire season in terms of yards per out run. He finished as the wide receiver 36 in points per game, so not amazing, but he had just 4 touchdowns, a product of bad quarterback play. He had the most unrealized air yards. So that's your ADOT times your targets, I believe, and then minus your yards. So just like how many yards he's accumulating from where he's at on the field when he earns these targets. He had a lot of yards left on the field from bad quarterback play. Now, not everyone's super stoked about Cam Ward, and that's fine. Not everyone was stoked about Justin Herbert. Not everyone was stoked about CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels. Can he completely faceplant and be awful? Sure, but there is upside for this offense in the AFC South, which is going to be a lighter division than usual. And then also Cam Ward could transform this offense. We've seen CJ Stroud do it in year one. We've seen Jaden Daniels do it in year one. We've seen Joe Burrow do it in year one. We've seen Justin Herbert go out there and do it in year one. Baker Mayfield with the Browns. Guys can come in and transform offenses, especially at the quarterback position when we don't really know what these guys are. Like Cam Ward can come in and completely make this a viable offense for fantasy football. Callahan can bring some of those Bengals tendencies and principles that he had when he was in Cincinnati. And this could be, I mean, I'm not saying like a top 5 offense, but I'm saying it could be not bottom 5 like most people are expecting it to be. And what that would do is it gives Calvin Ridley some upside. Now, when we look at where he's going, I'm thinking like cheap. Like I'm thinking Ridley for like a third. Can we get any third for Ridley? 210, 307, 402. Now we're talking 305, 210, not so much. 309. It's kind of all over the board. 302. Let's say 301. Any third round rookie pick for Calvin Ridley would be good enough for me, I think. And then what does this come out to? Okay, yeah, and Keep Trade Cut actually has the 301 as like a little bit more expensive there. So that is our last wide receiver. If you want to look at the rest of this list, like Kobe Myers is decent, Kupp is decent, Mooney's decent, Kirk's decent, Keenan Allen's decent, and then Adam Thielen's actually not a bad buy. I wonder if you could do like a fourth for Thielen. I could be open to it. Now with the tight ends, same deal here. We're going to talk about first and foremost George Kittle. He is, based on his Keep Trade Cut value, he should be the 93rd pick on Underdog. Instead, he is 52, and he is behind only Bowers and McBride as like an elite spike week monster tight end. And we're actually going to do a 2-for-1 special here with the tight ends. We'll talk about him and Travis Kelce. They're both, the 2 best tight ends of like their generation probably. Kelce spans a little bit longer than that, but they're really, really good. And you can see over the last 3 seasons, when we look at Kelce and Kittle, they have 6 of the 15 12-plus point per game seasons over that span. Kittle last year, 15-plus points per game. That is a huge, massive, wins above replacement impact for your team. And he showed no signs of slowing down. Deebo Samuel is now gone. Ayuk is coming back from an ACL injury. This 49ers offense should bounce back. It's not super hard to sell you on Kittle, right? We all know he's good. We all know he's going to produce. It just comes down to the fact that he is age 31, right? So he's getting older. He's going to lose value. But I think if you can buy him for like a second-round pick in Dynasty and have a top 3 tight end in your lineup, especially in tight end premium where you can throw him in the flex if you need to, I think he's a great value right now for someone that was trading as a first-round pick during the season when he was producing and going crazy. Now, Travis Kelce is a little bit more of a hard one to sell you on, right? He had a down year, but even in an awful year where he set career lows in yards per out run, open score on ESPN, all of that, I'm not saying that he's going to be good or play well, but we've now reached kind of the zone for him of just like, can he score touchdowns? And I think that he can, right? Last year, he had 12 plus points per game despite only 3 receiving touchdowns. He only had 8 in the last 2 years combined. This is still Mahomes as his quarterback. It's still Andy Reid as his head coach. It wouldn't be shocking that even on like a low yards per out run, not great efficiency, that he just scores like 10 touchdowns and gives you a top 5 tight end season. And right now, he is going for nothing. He is going for pennies because everyone is looking at this as a year one rent or a 1 year rental, which is fine. But if I need a tight end spot and it's a third round and I'm looking at guys like, I don't know, Terrence Ferguson, or I'm looking at like Elijah Arroyo, I'd be fine just being like, just give me Kelce and I'll just ride with him for a year for a third pick or a third round rookie pick. So let's see what both of these guys are going for on the trade database. First up, we have Kittle, which I'm shooting for like anything in the second round to me sounds good on Kittle. Kittle for the 203, Kittle for the 202. I like that. Kittle for the 201. And that's sold. Anything in the second round for me, I think would play for Kittle. Keep trade cut just to make sure that we are not going crazy here. Okay, they have the 201 ahead of Kittle, so that's fine for me. We'll make this George Kittle for the 201 or later. And then let's see what Kelce comes out to. I'm thinking like any third. Can I do a 301 or later for Kelce? What do we think? Kelce for the 209, Kelce for the 306. Now we're talking 208, 303, 312. Let's do 301. Any third round rookie pick for Kelce sounds good to me. Let's see for a second. For the 301. Yeah, it says fair trade. Okay, so let's do that as well. Travis Kelce for the 301 or later. Shopping list, look, it's filling up quite nicely. This is a nice, if you want to take a screenshot of this, so that between now and your rookie draft, you can kind of get a feel. Okay, these are players that Ron thinks you should buy at these price points. Let's move forward to the rest of the tight ends. I will say Ingram's not a bad buy here. Goddard's not a bad buy. I will say as well, Jonnu Smith is a pretty dang good buy. I just a little bit skeptical with him. I do think that the Dolphins are probably going to like not want to build their whole offense out of him. And he hasn't had a season this good since he was on the Titans. But Ingram's like a decent late round buy. Goddard late, and then Ertz, Henry. That's like, if you just want to duct tape together your tight end spot, you can go Ertz or Henry down here. Now, I will say, sadly for the quarterbacks, I don't have anybody to add to the shopping list because I like there's a couple of guys I like, but not enough to be like send a rookie pick out for them. I like Kyler, but it seems like his going rate is like the 102, 103. We'll do a video in the future, but I will say a big, like, if you take anything out from this video, and we're actually going to go full screen for this. I know the sentiment of this video is sell your rookie picks. But as you guys have seen, when it comes to the shopping list, it's all 111 or later. I think that when you get to the late first and you go through that, you can sell those picks. But these early firsts, I'm squatting on, right? The 101, the 102, the 103, the 104, the 105. I am not moving them until I am on the clock, unless if you get a Godfather offer, because things happen, whether it's landing spots where maybe there's somebody we're not even thinking about right now in the 102 or 103 conversation where, I don't know, like let's say out of nowhere, Quinshon Judkins goes 12th to the Cowboys, and then Amarion Hampton goes like 20th to the Broncos or whatever. All of a sudden, the 104 there just gained a ton of value. So there's still things, especially in that like 101 to like 106, 107 area, that can really boost those picks. And they will always be valuable. And like hit rates there are also great. If you look at some research we'll go into another time. Early firsts I am not moving off of. I'm just saying late firsts and on, if you are trying to build a contender, right now is the cheapest time to acquire these players. So here are a bunch of players on this shopping list for contenders. Let's write that. We'll do shopping list for contenders, and we'll put it in like very small font on the top of our shopping list here. All right, there's that. And we'll talk about the quarterbacks here, but there's not really, like I said, I'm not trying to, like all of these guys, like Hurts, these guys are all buys, but the premise of this video is to get a shopping list, and I'm not going to tell you, like, don't move your 10, like, if you can move your 101 for Hurts, then sure, but that's not really on the table. Same thing with Kyler Murray. I like him as a buy, but I'm not sending my 102 for him. I'm not crazy about Baker or Goff. I think Dak is fine. I think Justin Fields is a great buy as well, but the issue is that he's worth an early second, and at that point, I would just rather take Jalen Milroe and kind of roll the dice on him and see how that goes instead. So those are the quarterbacks. None of them really qualify for the buys, but that is going to do it for us today. That is our final shopping list. We'll actually end with the shopping list on screen here. That is our final shopping list. McCaffrey for the 111 or later, James Conner for the 208 or later, Aaron Jones for the 211 or later, Tyreek Hill for the 201 or later, Devontae Adams for the 207 or later, and we actually forgot to put Calvin Ridley in here. That's what I'm now realizing. So let's put Calvin Ridley in here real quick. I think we said the 301 or later for Calvin Ridley. So 301 or later for Calvin Ridley. Boom. All of that is on the board. So between now and your rookie drafts, if somebody, gives you an offer for a veteran, if you're on the clock and you don't like any of your options there, boom, here is your shopping list. I thought this was a fun video, right, where you can sort of look at concrete data and sort of figure out who is a good buy based on that. Maybe we'll do the opposite of like players that aren't helping you win and are just storing dynasty value and kind of wasting away. And we can kind of talk about maybe we should sell those players. I'm not sure, but regardless, as always, make sure you check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code RON when you sign up. Check out patreon.com/Ron Stewart, where I have all my rookie rankings, my dynasty rankings, all of that good stuff. And then again, if you enjoyed this video, if you looked at this chart, if you downloaded it for yourself, leave a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see y'all in the next one.
Stones, like this froze, ice cold, ice around my body like